whistle while you work. Put on that grin and start right in to whistle loud and long, or hum a merry tune. Just do your best.
I am genuinely thrilled. Am I? Am I? How did this happen? You know, there is a line in Strictly Ballroom. I was thinking about it when I was just standing there. Apart from the fact that I wanted to shout out to the Rudy Hill Women's Auxiliary for serving such lovely tea this morning. I mean, aren't they lovely? And every cup of tea is going towards a good cause. There is a line in the film. It says, because we've been rehearsing and writing and searching, and there's a line in the film and it goes, I've been with your father for 25 years. You don't think I get bored of it? Of course I do. And I was thinking, hang on, I think Strictly Ballroom has been in my life for at least 25 years. But I don't get bored of it. And I was thinking, why is that? How is that the case? And I think if I was being very serious about it, it's because it's actually an inextricable part of my life. You see, I was a ballroom dancer. Yes, this is actually this is not my natural color. I dyed this color. But I was a ballroom dancer. I grew up in that world. And then when we were at the National Institute of Dramatic Art, we were very, very interested in this idea of taking primary myth and placing it in a world you knew. And it's sort of about honesty, but the myth that we were very interested in, and I did this with a group of students, was about overcoming oppression. Because believe it or not, Strictly Ballroom began as a response to the Cold War. And we were like young students going, we feel so helpless, what can we do? And we looked at those myths about overcoming oppression. And also, we felt that creatively, we didn't want to be told, you know, there's only one way to do theatre. So this myth about overcoming oppression, we segued with the transformative myth of the ugly duckling, which is not about saying, you know, you want to look like that, becoming that. It's about actually self-revelation. We did that little show. It went for 20 minutes. And to this day, and I was in it actually, and to this day, that 20-minute show, I mean, obviously we were students, but when that show finished, to this day, I have never felt the thrill of an audience and the warmth and the joy that we felt at the end of that little show. Except pretty much every time we did Strictly Ballroom. We went on then and we did a version not too long after that, and this is pre-Glasnost, where we took our little production of Strictly Ballroom and we took it to Czechoslovakia in a drama school festival. And I distinctly remember sneaking around and seeing the Russians doing the seagull, and because Russian acting, and it was just unbelievable. And there was this kid going, Nina, Nina, это вы. We had this ballroom dance. We were like, let's just go home now. I mean, this is never going to work. We put it on, and in those days, the show had more sort of Brechtian stuff in it. We used to go to hell with the Federation, and there were sort of tapes of, you know, Ronald Reagan doing Semper and things like that. At the end of that show, and there's a documentary of this, we walked off the stage. There was such cheering, and we were going, oh, it went so great. And someone said, what's that? I said, hang on, is it an earthquake? No. Boom, 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 boom. It was the other students. We came back on, and the Bulgarian students And these satellite students who were oppressed ran onto the stage and they said, "Bravo, Strictly Ballroom, bravo, Bulgaria. This is about freedom," you know? I mean, at 19, you're feeling really, liberated by that. So that was its great moment then, and I thought that was the end of it. And then came, we had a little theatre company, there was a further extended version of it, and we were lucky enough that there was a film company starting at that time, started up by a wonderful gentleman called Ted Albert of the Albert Music Company. You may have heard of the band AC/DC. Yes, I can see it's a favorite down here. And Ted and his wife Popsy saw a production of Strictly Ballroom down at the Wharf, and he was forming a film company with Tristram Mile. I think Tristram might be here today. I hope you are, Tris. Yeah? No. And they wanted to make a movie. I said, great, as long as I direct it. We had a massive struggle to get that film financed. In this country, around the world, I went to Cannes. I knew nothing about it. Great struggle. Finally got the film. The day we go to shoot it, tragically, Ted Albert dies of a heart attack. And the film is over. Incredibly, Ted's wife, Popsy Albert, says, "My husband always knew about talent. He knew what could work. I'm going to back the film." And this was not a popular choice because, there was a lot of Australian films don't make money. She did that. The making of the film, all I ever remember was joy and passion and meeting Mr. Cha-Cha. You'll meet him later. He's hard to forget. And we made that movie. And when we screened Strictly Ballroom to the distributor we had in this country, we had one cinema, and the distributor came in and watched the movie, and he left at the end of it and said, "That is the worst movie I have ever seen in my life, and you have ruined Pat Thompson's career." Footnote, and very sadly, she won posthumously because she died and she never knew that she won Best Actress at the AFI that year. But our film was over. It was going straight to video. And I remember, sometimes I tell these people, go, "This did not happen." I said, "This happened." I said, "Well, that's it. The film thing's not going to work out." CM and Bill Marin, we went up the coast, we went to a caravan park, and we were like, what are we going to do? I mean, I guess we go and do a theatre show. We were hurt and burnt and sad, and I had quite long hair then. As you can see, my hair has changed quite dramatically through the years, and we were cutting the hair off, and someone had been killed, I think, from a falling coconut in this caravan park earlier. So I was getting my hair cut, and there was a woman come out and said, "Baz, Baz." I was like, "Yes." "There's a guy on the phone from France." And I was like, "Well, all right." So I had to get a bucket and put it on my head to protect myself from falling coconuts. And I had a plastic phone in one hand. I went, "Yeah?" And he said, "My name is Pierre Rission, and I am from the Cannes Film Festival." Now, quite why he sounds like Marlon Brando, I don't really know, but, and I'm going to make you an offer. He actually said this, "I'm going to make you an offer. But if to put Strictly Ballroom on for one 12 o'clock screening, you have 1 week to decide. But if you go to another festival, you will never come to Cannes." So I've got the bucket, it's raining, half a haircut off and everything. I went, "I think we can go to that. That'll be all right. Yeah, we'll be there." So we go to the Cannes Film Festival, and you all probably, a lot of you know this. I mean, we went there within 24 hours. It's still the highest selling film of all time in 24 hours. We won some awards. It went on. It became this kind of global thing. Back here in Australia, I think it saved Hoyts. It had a soundtrack. You never know who is going to be a Strictly Ballroom fan. I mean, forget that the Pope put it on his list of top 5 films. I remember the first time I met Bill Clinton, and he was in an argument. It was in a small room, and I was like, "Oh my God, you refer to the president as president after he's president." I did not know that. The person with me was going, "Mr. President," I was thinking, how do I be witty? And he said, "Yes, Baz Luhrmann." I thought, he'll never know. He leaned and he goes, "Hitler and I, Moulin Rouge, that was a great film, but I got to tell you something, Strictly Ballroom. Now I got to tell you, we must have played that film in the White House at least 6 times. I mean," and he went right, and he said, "How about that, mother? What a piece of work, huh?" Then he goes back to arguing with Richard Gere. So You can never tell who is going to be a fan of Strictly Ballroom. And the film went on and it had its life. And, you know, I could tell you a dozen stories, I won't. Some of them funny, some of them moving, some of them touching. But I thought that was the end of it. And years went on, and many times people wanted to do. If I told you who has approached us about doing Strictly Ballroom musically, it would be a very, very interesting list. But I could never find the right reason. And then through Carmen Pavlovic, I met a gentleman called Jerry Ryan. And Jerry struck me somewhat like Ted. He believed in something I think we believe in, and that is that you can create in this country, but for the world. Any wonder that the company's called Global Creatures, because it's global, but we can make it here. And that's something that Sam and I and Craig and my longtime collaborators always believed in, that there's no reason why we cannot create here, find our own language, find our own way for the world. And I met Jerry, and he outlined a plan that we should become a team together to do that. The question was in Australia, but where? There was quite a dialogue about that. And then I get a call from Premier O'Farrell. Now, Premier, if I get this wrong, you've got to correct me, because I'm a director. I get to do 2 takes, you know? I believe the call was something like, you know, New South Wales, we want it to be a cultural destination. I don't know how long, Premier, you'd actually been Premier. Not long. About a month. He said, my vision is for it to be a cultural destination. We are already really a filmmaking capital. I knew that was true, because I'd made a lot of films here. We'd made Paris here. We just made Long Island here. He said, but this can be a place for arts and for the theatre. And really, Strictly Ballroom was born of Sydney, and we would really want you to bring it back to Sydney, back to the place it belonged. Now, in that moment, I just went, hang on, of course. I can come back with my family, with my children, who I want to have Australian roots, a good reason. And the great thing about the theatre versus a film is that when you go to a town and you make a film, it's like you're mining. You get it, but you take it away and you play it somewhere else. When you make a piece of theatre, you come to the town, you all are involved in it together, you make the theatre, and then every night, as you go out to dinner, some waiter will say to you, oh, I saw the show last night, so it better be good, you know? Because you don't want them to say like, that's not on the menu. It's a lovely thing when they go, I saw the show last night, no, you're there. You're actually bringing it to the space. So I thought, somehow the planets have aligned. This is the right place, the right thing to do, the right city, the right state, the right country. And here, at the age of 50, it's the right moment for my own personal journey. It's a journey I haven't been on my own. And right now, as I'm speaking to you, the last few weeks we've been doing a global search, but mainly in Australia for Scott and Franz. I've seen some remarkable talents. There will be in the production some leading lights of the Australian theatre. I'm not saying who, okay? Although you can try and get it out of me. It's Strictly Ballroom, it dances, but it's a musical, so it sings. And right now we are, as I'm speaking to you, I'm working with Anton Monstead and the music team and Craig, and we are generating music language for it, much the same way we did it for Moulin Rouge. There are going to be those classics in it that you know and love. Time after time, I saw 2 kids singing the sort of segue in it yesterday. And there's going to be new music as well. But as I speak, we're working on production design, we're working on text, we're rehearsing, we're auditioning. This has been happening all the last few weeks. Even right behind us, we're doing that now. All I can tell you is we are going to do everything we possibly can as a team, as a group of creatives, to bring the very best version of the all-singing, all-dancing, live stage musical production of Strictly Ballroom. I see Bruce going, Baz, wrap it up.
Time for questions, I think. Time for questions, Baz.
Isn't he a great director? It's my day off.